What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Farzy Show here at the Steven Singer Studio. Farzy Show presented by none other than Destination Retirement, DestinationRetirement.com. We're going to get into Tyrese Maxey absolutely owning the Miami Heat with a game-high 28 points, 13 of those 28 points coming in the most clutch quarter possible, the fourth quarter. You know that quarter that we've known where the Sixers kind of die? Well, he just kind of was like, clear, and everyone came back to life in the fourth quarter. It was great. And throughout this game with no JamesHarden, throughout this game with no Joel Embiid, who was on the bench and was Mr. Hype Man extraordinaire for Tyrese Maxey and everybody else on the 76ers roster, including Shake Milton, including Furky Jerky from Turkey, Furkan Korkmaz, including George Niang, including all the guys on this roster. Joel Embiid was just going nuts for those guys as they were just having the game of their lives against the number one team in the Eastern Conference in the Miami Heat. So I am beyond excited when you talk about this 76ers team and what they were able to give the fans of Philadelphia last night in South Philadelphia. We got we got Tyrese Maxey after the game. We got so much going on when it comes to this game, so much excitement. And Tyrese Maxey, we'll talk at length about the 28 points. We'll talk at length about how clutch he was in the fourth quarter. But how about the leader that Tyrese Maxey is as a second-year player? After the game, listening to him talk, I was like, is this guy like 40? Is he about to retire? Like, has he been in the league winning multiple championships and all that stuff? Okay, first off, at 40, I hope that's where Tyrese Maxey is. You know, still playing for the Sixers and still having that amazing hair. Not that I'm jealous as a bald man, but you know what I'm saying. But for me, watching this game last night and then listening to him after the game, I thought, this guy's wise beyond his years. And I've talked a lot about guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now hold on, I've just said another name. I'm not comparing the two, but this is what I'm getting to. I've talked at length about guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo. I've talked at length about guys like Jalen Hurts, about guys that are just like, we talk a lot about mental health nowadays. These two are on mental steroids, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Jalen Hurts, but just how anything that gets said, anything gets done, they're just like, yeah, whatever, let me work harder and try to be better. Giannis has obviously gotten to the top of the mountain. Jalen Hurts very much still climbing to get back there. And then Tyrese Maxey last night, the exact mindset and mentality you want to have. I'm listening to Kyle Schwarber's press conference yesterday. I'm watching that, and I'm thinking, this guy gets it. And it's great when you watch a professional athlete, anybody really in general, but within our realm, professional athletes, and they just get it. They understand what they're doing. They understand that their life is a damn dream compared to the vast majority of people. They get to play the sport that they love and make millions of dollars to do it, and they work their asses off to be the best they possibly can be, because that's what really we ask of our athletes, especially in a city like this. Kyle Schwarber talked about how his father's a cop, how he grew up in a blue-collar family, quite literally a blue-collar family, when you talk about your father being one of the finest in blue, so to speak. So for me, listening to guys like that, and have the guys that have the right mental approach to their sport and to life in general, I'll never get sick of listening. And after I heard Kyle Schwarber's words yesterday, I listened to Tyrese Maxey after the game, and I thought, these guys just take out whatever is in their mindset, in their thought process, and duplicate it, bottle it, and sell it to everybody in professional sports entirely. And maybe some people in life in general, and they can have a better outlook on things as well. But blown away from the approach from these professional athletes, most notably Tyrese Maxey yesterday and Kyle Schwarber, listening to him speak. And how about this? Kyle Schwarber signs the deal on Tuesday. Wednesday, his wife goes into labor, and they have a son, Cade, I believe is his newborn son's name. That's a thrilling 48 hours. That's a thrilling 24 hours, really. So congrats to the Schwarber family, not only on just signing a deal, but also welcoming a new baby boy into the family. So he has had quite the week, that Kyle Schwarber fella. We'll let you hear from Kyle Schwarber a little bit later on. And officially, as I told you yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, I have for you my official Phillies lineup. That's right. I've made some adjustments. I've come around on something, as a matter of fact, and we'll debut it for you guys today. And Ben Verlander from Fox Sports, from Flipping Bats podcast. Yes, the brother of that Justin Verlander fellow. Yes, the brother-in-law of Kate Upton. He will be on the show for a second time, and since he's been on, we started the Fast Five. He does play Fast Five with us. I know you guys are looking forward to that. But what I took away from my conversation with Ben Revere, oh my God, we'll edit that out. No, we can't. We tape live to tape. But what I took away from my Ben Verlander conversation was how much he thinks this Phillies team is going to rake. Everything else, not so much. But raking can get you far in baseball. If you constantly score 10 runs, you're going to be okay, generally speaking, as long as you're not constantly giving up 11 runs, as we all know. But he is very optimistic about this Phillies lineup. But let's get a little bit more. I'm already seeing your comments. You guys are fantastic. Let me jump into this. I'm watching this game last night with the 76ers, and they get the win, 2.5 games out of first place in the Eastern Conference, and they beat the first place Heat, as I stated earlier, and as you know. But throughout this game, I kept waiting for the moment that the Miami Heat were going to pull away. And kind of around halftime, I went, wow, this Sixers team's really hanging with them. If they survive this third quarter, they got a shot at the fourth quarter here. They got a shot at winning this game. And the moment never happened where the Miami Heat just took over, where they all of a sudden, oh, this is why they're the number one team in the Eastern Conference, and they're playing against a team without the probably MVP of the league and the guy that's already won an MVP in JamesHarden, who's supposed to be the difference maker, push him over the top, that whole thing. The Sixers never went away. Shake Milton got you 20 points last night. That's insane. Like, we can all talk about how great Tyrese Maxey was, and I will. But when it comes to Shake Milton getting you 20 points, he was hitting threes for you. He was driving the lane for you. He was setting up guys for you. Tobias Harris, 14 points, I believe, is what he came away with last night. Over 6 assists, 6 rebounds. So we did the other things well. But how he gets outshined by the other members of the Sixers bench is just kind of par for the course this year with Tobias Harris. But Shake Milton, George Niang, Furkan Korkmaz chip in as a bench helped you get 44 points, I believe, in last night's game. 40-plus points from the Sixers bench. We've talked all year about, hey, if we could get this version of Tobias Harris for the rest of the season, the Sixers team's going to be all right, especially now that JamesHarden's here. We've talked about that a lot. You know what we haven't talked about? Hey, if this bench plays like that, then this Sixers team's got a really good chance of winning a championship. I think the bench playing like they did last night is a lot more likely than Tobias Harris all of a sudden going, I remember how to play basketball. I remember how to put the ball through the hoop. I remember how to finish strong at the rim. I think the Sixers bench has a lot better opportunity of playing more consistently than what we have seen from Tobias Harris. Paul Millsap came back last night, so that was nice to see him at least start for the Sixers at the center position. DeAndre Jordan, rim attacking, not so much rim protecting last night. But everything you saw from the role players, for lack of a better term, was great. And I mean most notably the 76ers bench. That effort going forward. And when you make shots, unlike you did the previous night, basketball's a lot easier. So when you hear Doc Rivers talk at length about how this team just kind of moseyed through a game like they did 2 nights ago, that kind of leaves a lot to be desired with me, because I thought for the most part it was all about the fact that they just missed shots. They got out rebounded, especially on the offensive glass, 20-5 2 nights ago. And then last night, they just hit their shots. And that's it, plain and simple. That's a lot easier when your shots are falling, especially when your shots are falling in the fourth quarter. And there are a couple of different times with your leading scorer and your game high scorer in Tyrese Maxey hitting 28. There were times last night in the fourth quarter I thought, heat check, he hit it, still hot. Heat check, he hit it, still hot. Heat check, drive to the lane, high off the glass, dribble drive penetration, score, go to the line, goes to the crowd, give me a little of this, keep bringing it on, That was fantastic. And there were multiple times last night that I thought the Sixers, this could be it. This could be when the Heat come in. This could be when the Heat establish themselves. And the Sixers had an answer every single time to squash anything that resembled momentum for the Heat and to get going anything the Sixers needed to get going to close out that game. It was a phenomenal win. This wasn't like squeaking out a win against, the Cavs without JamesHarden and without Joel Embiid. This wasn't like that at all. This was the number one team in the Eastern Conference. And they took it. They gave them the business without their 2 biggest stars. Now, I still don't know what the hell happened to JamesHarden last night, but I know what happened to Joel Embiid. He was there on the sidelines going nuts for people. I believe the first part of this quote from Tyrese Maxey is about Joel Embiid being on the side. Or excuse me, I think the first part of the quote is not about Joel Embiid, but about Shake Milton and finally getting his comeuppance, if you will. His 20 points, finally getting a moment to shine in the game last night. And if it's not about him, it must be about Furkan Korkmaz, who just went off for a guy who basically hasn't played in weeks. But Shake Milton talked about the leadership role for him, and then also seeing guys on the bench like Joel Embiid, who weren't playing in the game, absolutely go off for them. Listen to this.
I was on the bench going crazy. I was just, I was so hyped. When he got in the game, I told him, I'm like, man, dude, just be aggressive. Do what you do. Like, everybody knows what you're able to do. Nobody's going to say anything. Nobody's going to complain. You just have the faith in yourself that we have in you, and you're going to go out there and succeed. So I was dang near on the court, probably about to get a tech, but I was so happy for guys like him and Ferk. And I think that's, like I keep saying, that's a testimony to the camaraderie, to the team chemistry. Guys really care about each other. And for Joel to come back after, stitches and fake teeth and all the stuff he has going on, to come on the court and scream and yell and really, really look out for his guys. And James texting throughout the entire game, it means a lot. And you really have to do nothing but appreciate those guys.
Just a question. How did they know he was texting throughout the game? I know in the NFL you get like fined if you have your cell phone. Were they texting? Was he texting a trainer? Did they go back to the locker room after the game and see like, oh, I got 20 missed text messages from JamesHarden? Is that what happened? How did they know he was texting is my question. But okay. And where was he? Joel Embiid's there going bonkers, man, on the bench. Tyrese Maxey hits a shot, gets a huge block at the end of the game, which was amazing. And then every time, pan to the bench, there's Joel Embiid in his sweatshirt, smiling ear to ear. I was just so excited. It reminded me of the great Alex Suber's shot of him grabbing Joel Embiid grabbing former point TJ McConnell by the neck after he hit the game-winning shot against the Knicks, I want to say, and he's just like, rah! That thing. And that's what it reminded me of last night, watching him get so amped up and so excited for Tyrese Maxey. And then I'm like, well, where's James Harden? Where's that guy at? Where's him in like some fancy pants suit or something? Whatever. Where's that guy at? And it wasn't there. I don't know why he wasn't there. If somebody knows that, please hit me up in the comments. I was looking. Nobody reported it that I saw. But Tyrese Maxey was the leader on the court last night. And Joel Embiid was there for it, which I think is a big deal. I'm not judging James Harden. I just like to know if anyone knows where he was at. But Tyrese Maxey absolutely went off. And it was great to see. And to hear that leadership from him about talking to guys like Shake Milton, talking to guys like Furkan Korkmaz, getting them going, trying to put the quarter in the machine to get them going in the game, that's a thing of beauty. And that's where a young man really can take steps forward in his game. We've all seen, as a basketball player on the court, how he takes steps forward. But watching him on the bench, watching him want to be a leader, that is what gives you a lot of encouragement as well. That was a great thing from him last night. And then also after the game, he talked about just how Philly is different, so to speak. Here he is talking about hearing chants. By the way, Anahi, if you remember Anahi, one of our Sixers fans that checked in after James Harden's debut, she tweeted out last night saying that there were chants going on. You could hear the Maxey chants. They were thunderous. They were coming through your TV as well, I'm sure. It was awesome to hear that. I was feeding Leo as I'm watching the game, especially in that fourth quarter, so the volume was a little low, so I couldn't tell. But to see that after the game and know that was going on down at the Wells Fargo Center, that was pretty awesome. But here is Tyrese Maxey talking about how Philly's different.
Well, yeah, I'm always going to have fun, no matter what the circumstance is. I get to wake up in the morning and play basketball for a living. It's a beautiful thing. I thank the Lord every single day, every single night, and every single time before I step on the court. So, I'm always going to have that fun. But the crowd is, the Philadelphia crowd, every time I look at the sheet after the game, it says sellout. So, I mean, that's an amazing feeling for them to come, even when, your two superstars are not playing, and, show the determination, the will, and just to rally behind them is a really good feeling. Well, yeah, I'm always going to have fun, no matter, what the
Sorry about that little loop there, but that's what you want to hear from a guy, and to give the love to the fans about how Philly's different and all that. The guy kind of gets it. I would say the guy kind of gets it. After the game, friend of the show, George Niang, was tweeting about how Tyrese Maxey is that guy. Presidential motorcade for our man Tyrese Maxey. Dare I say a presidential motorcade of minivans. Let's put the president in the minivan. Let's just have some fun there. Also, last night, I love this idea, and I told you I'm gonna just be completely sick. I'm gonna make you sick of it, basically. Ladies and gentlemen, last night, Tyrese Maxey, the head coach, comes up to him and says, "Hey, Tyrese, hey there, Reese. Here's the deal: no James Harden, no Joel Embiid." What's Tyrese Maxey's mindset?
It's play on, dude.
I'm sorry, what was that, coach?
It's play on, dude.
Oh, one more time for the people in the back.
It's play on, dude.
Oh, my goodness, what a leader. What a leader, folks. I'm just going to have so much fun with Coach Lynham. Yesterday, Kenny Pickett had his, from Pittsburgh, had his pro day with his pro day with his small hands, and went out there and apparently slinged it. He was just slinging it, right? And then apparently he went out to dinner with the Eagles afterwards. My mentality throughout this entire process, with Deshaun Watson signing with Cleveland, and I still feel like the Eagles dodged a bullet there. Like I told you before, if you added Deshaun Watson for next year's Philadelphia Eagles, you have upgraded the position. Very little doubt in my mind. But where I'm looking and how I'm looking at Jalen Hurts, if I'm making the decision, I go Jalen Hurts because I want to see just how far he can go. I want to see how high he can rise as his second year as being the Eagles' full-time starter, as opposed to just cut and paste and putting Deshaun Watson in an Eagles uniform and going, okay, well, now I know what I have. I'd rather see if I can get a little bit better than Deshaun Watson. I'd rather see if this team could get a little bit better with Jalen Hurts as their starting quarterback. And if he doesn't take that leap in year 2 as the Eagles' #1 guy, I want to change things up. But with Deshaun Watson going, with Matt Ryan now going to the Colts for a 3rd-round pick, the Colts are adorable with their quarterbacks. But now Matt Ryan goes to I actually think I'll have success with Frank Reich. But watching all that transpire, and then Marcus Mariota going to the Falcons, and all that, I still am in the mindset that the Eagles, although they're not going to do it, I don't think in free agency or trade, like Baker Mayfield, for instance. I don't think he comes to Philadelphia. But I still think the Eagles are looking to upgrade that position possibly through the draft. I didn't think that's really the direction they were headed. But even taking that extra step and taking Kenny Pickett out to dinner, for instance, I think is an interesting little play here. After the pro day, apparently they met up. The Eagles have those 3 first-round picks, which we all know. So they basically have a blank check to do whatever the hell they want when it comes to this draft. That's how much draft stock, draft capital they have. I'm not going to go ahead and say that it's likely. I'm going to go ahead and say that it would not at all surprise me if they decided to move up in the draft. For me, personally, I still would stay where I'm at, and I'd keep Jalen Hurts as my quarterback for 1 more year, and I would trade a pick to next year. So I have at least 2 first-round picks next year's draft. In case it doesn't work out with Jalen Hurts, I still have as close to a blank check as you could have with at least 2 first-round picks. I want to put it past Howie for somehow magically getting another first-round pick, because why not? He's a damn wizard when it comes to trading anyway. So that's the interesting thing I see from Howie Roseman. That's the interesting thing I see from the Eagles. But if I had to bet right now, Jalen Hurts will still be your starting quarterback going forward. And for all the people that really just want to point to what Howie has said or what Nick Sirianni has said about Jalen Hurts is our guy, that's what we're sold on right now, all that's BS. If they can upgrade that spot, they go upgrade that spot. Let's not forget, at the Combine, Howie Roseman, supposedly, from people very close to the situation, had already made a trade offer to the Seattle Seahawks to bring in Russell Wilson. Russell said, thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to go to Denver. And the Eagles and every other team, including the Green Bay Packers, after Aaron Rodgers went back there, and everyone was done. They were all done, except for Denver. And maybe, I don't know the chronology of it, but maybe an hour later, Howie's like, we're absolutely sold on Jalen Hurts. Okay. We're absolutely sold on Jalen Hurts. Okay, sure you are. Because that's what you have right now, and there's other options that those guys are interested in, but they might not be into you. That's the problem. It takes 2 to tango, pal. I want another thing. Watching a pro day, by the way, watching a pro day is like watching a fishing show before it was edited. Like that's what a pro day is. Like fishing shows are great when they're edited. Obviously, it's like, oh, he's got another fish. Ooh, what are they biting on? Oh, what lure is sponsoring the show today? That's a nice lure, right? But then when there's no editing, it's just a guy sitting on a boat, and that guy isn't that interesting. But when you're watching the edited version, it's pretty great. A pro day and just watching like a bunch of scouts look at a guy with small hands. There it is. It's like, ooh, he threw the ball. Yeah, did you watch Pittsburgh and all this year? Pitt was pretty good. He was pretty good. Yeah. So I don't envy anybody that sat through the entire pro day with Kenny Pickett yesterday. So we'll see where that goes. Coming up, Ben Verlander joins the show. There's one more thing I wanted to get into. Oh, Schwarber, of course. What the hell's bells am I doing? Let me just hit this one more time.
It's play on, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, even if you forget stuff, you just play on, dude. Kyle Schwarber yesterday talking about I was saying earlier about how he just gets it, right? Well, Jim Salisbury asked him, I thought, an interesting question to kind of lead things off. And there was a couple of different points that Kyle Schwarber hit on. This is one of the things I want to get to. One of the things he got into was the priority. The Phillies made him a priority. They wanted to bring him here to Philadelphia. He was a big priority. When we talked to Greg Murphy last week, Kyle Schwarber was a priority. We let you hear from Jason Stark, who was on Mikey Miss, and Jason Stark talked about how Kyle Schwarber was a priority for the Phillies. So Jim Salisbury went out there at NBC Sports Philadelphia at the press conference in Clearwater, and he said, were the Phillies a priority for you? And I thought it was an interesting way that Kyle Schwarber answered this question. Listen to this.
I'm in the business of winning baseball games. And when you look at this team, the from top to bottom lineup-wise, looking at the rotation, the bullpen, that this team is it's a very good ball club. And we're built to win the East. We're built to go deep into the playoffs. And, that's what you look for. That's what you want to be. I've only won in my career, from where I've been in Chicago. When I was with Washington last year, but being traded over to Boston, being in the playoffs there too. I think I've only missed the playoffs one time, and it's an addicting feeling. And you want to keep pushing to that. And when you get that cherry on top, which is the World Series, you just strive for that every year. So this was definitely a place I was looking forward to be.
He went on to talk about how exciting Citizens Bank Park can be, how great the fan base is, and all that. All the right buttons to push. He did a great job at the press conference yesterday. He also talked about the mentality of being a leadoff hitter, which is something I said yesterday. Is like I like Kyle Schwarber in the leadoff spot. He hit 298, I believe it was, last year with Boston as a leadoff hitter. He obviously provided that pop with 32 home runs last year with Boston. So that to me is, and also Washington because he was traded. But he definitely has that pop. He definitely has that on-base percentage. And he has the ability to work a count. And one of the things he got into yesterday was, he'll hit wherever Joe Girardi puts him in the lineup. He'll play in the field wherever Joe Girardi wants him in the field. He'll DH if Joe Girardi wants him to be whatever it takes to win. That's what Kyle Schwarber wants to do, which again is music to all our ears. I'm not really comfortable in the leadoff spot. Okay, you're going to lead off anyway. Like that's something that will make you fall out of favor faster than anything. When it comes to this city, if you're not willing to do whatever it takes to win, nobody really wants to deal with you. Like Bobby Abreu was close to a Hall of Fame hitter, but wouldn't bat leadoff for the Phillies, and people still hold it against him here. Wouldn't get close to the wall. People hold it. He got booed in his return to Philadelphia. He's one of the all-time greatest hitters in the organization's history. He wouldn't go close to the wall. He wouldn't lead off. Like those are two things that are just amazing to me. But because that makes us think. You don't want to do whatever it takes to win. And there's no faster way to fall out of Philadelphia favor than, I'm going to be selective about how I want to win. No, just win, damn it. Do whatever the coach tells you. And don't hustle. We'll just absolutely destroy you if you don't hustle. But Kyle Schwarber's comments were all on the right notes. He hit every note he needed to hit yesterday. And when he was asked about batting leadoff, he said originally in Chicago, he got some experience leading off and he didn't have success. Then by the time he got to Boston, he started leading off. He said, you know what? It's just an at-bat. I don't have to think about it as I got to make sure that I go out there and foul off 10 pitches. No, I got to get a good at-bat. That's really what it comes down to. I just got to go out there and get a good at-bat. That will help my team, and that'll help me. It's just hitting. You're leading off once, as we all know, every game. Every once in a while, you lead off an inning as well. But that's at any spot in the order. So just go out there and put in a good at-bat. And that's how you're going to help your team win. He also talked about Nick Castellanos. They played together for a little bit in Chicago. He says Philly's going to love this guy's mentality, and other guys going to do whatever it takes to win. Of course, our friend John Clark of NBC Sports Philly caught up with Nick Castellanos. Are you even a new Philadelphia athlete if John Clark hasn't talked to you at the airport? So we caught up with Nick Castellanos. Nick Castellanos very optimistic about what this lineup can do going forward, especially with a guy like Kyle Schwarber and all that. So everyone's real excited. Everyone's got great optimism for this lineup. Now, what is the lineup going to be? If you remember, yesterday I talked to you about how I wanted Kyle Schwarber in the leadoff spot. After further consideration, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, here is my official lineup for the Philadelphia Phillies. Yes, I flip-flopped. I went Gene Segura. Kyle Schwarber, good leadoff hitter. I like the bat down further in the order. And if you move him down further in the order to just the number 2 spot, it sets you up a little bit better for righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty. And yes, Odubel Herrera is in the starting lineup. I am rooting very hard for Mickey Moniak, for Matt Vierling to take over that starting spot in the Phillies order. That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm rooting for. That's what I need to see happen for the Phillies. Absolutely need Mickey Moniak and Vierling to take over, if they can, from Odubel Herrera. That's what I need. I would also love to see Bryce and Stott take over at the shortstop position because, let's face it, we all want to see our younger guys take over in that situation. Give them an opportunity to have some success. That's what I want to see, but ultimately right now, I think this is what we're looking at. And I think Nick Castellanos gets the designation. Nick Castellanos gets the destination, gets the distinction of being the Phillies' designated hitter batting third. The only thing that I also went back and forth on a little bit in this was Rhys Hoskins as your 6-hole hitter. That is something that is just weird to me. Because he's been your best hitter, like other than Bryce Harper, of course. He's been your best hitter for a while. And he's been one of your best get-on-base guys as well. And seeing him bat 6 is odd to me. But in this newly formed Phillies lineup, not so much. It's a pretty damn good lineup. I am going to ask our friend Ben Revere. I did it again! Oh, my God! Ben Verlander, what the hell is the matter? Is it the B? Is it the Ben and then the V in the last name? God! Ben, he'll never come on the show again. I'm going to ask our man to grade my lineup, basically. So that's what I'm going to look at. Wait, Bryce, it's possible. Yeah, Bryce could definitely hit third, no doubt. So that's what I'm looking at right now with the Phillies and see where we go with that. Let's talk some more baseball with our friend Ben Verlander. God, I'm an idiot. But you know what I'm not an idiot about? DestinationRetirement.com. You know why? Because I believe in helping you guys out, and so does my good friend Mike Seibert. Retirement income certified professional and financial advisor for Eagles and Sixers fans only. His firm, Destination Retirement LLC, is a full-service planning firm and a partner of 1847 Financial. Mike helps clients with their accumulation and distribution years. What's the difference? A lot. Have you figured out how much you'll need per month when you retire? How much your retirement income? How much of it would you like fully guaranteed? Do you want to protect any assets from downside market risk? And do you have a written plan in place? If you have questions, if you need answers, if you have assets of $250,000 or more, Mike will help create a written plan to help offset your retirement expenses free of charge using software from Retirement Analyzer. Mike usually charges just under $2,000 for this service, so act now. Go to DestinationRetirement.com. Your plan will show you how you can help offset your retirement expenses and what you could do in a volatile market and help minimize taxes. With over 30 years of experience in the financial game, Mike is committed to helping Eagles and Sixers fans only get to and through retirement. You can reach Mike at 484-275-6035. That's 484-275-6035. Or visit DestinationRetirement.com. That's DestinationRetirement.com. Click on Find Out at the top of the page and fill out the questionnaire to see how prepared you are for retirement and to sign up for this newsletter as well. Make sure you do that. Sign up for Mike Seibert's newsletter at DestinationRetirement.com. He'll get back to you and talk to you about how he can help. As always, go Birds, and especially after last night, play the song. Let me tell you about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. For over 40 years, Steven has been in the love business in Philadelphia, helping people fall in love and helping people cement their love as well with beautiful diamond engagement rings. Do what I do. When it comes to your jewelry purchases, when it comes to the big gifts, ladies and gentlemen, stop by and see my friend Steven Singer at the other corner of 8th and Walnut. He'll help you look like a genius. You'll wow that special someone in your life by how beautiful, how sparkling, how absolutely incredible the diamond is that they're going to get. Whether it's diamond rings, diamond engagement rings, diamond bracelets, tennis bracelets, necklaces, whatever, my diamond stud earrings, Steven Singer has got you covered. And always check him out at IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. And the best part about it all, not only are you getting great quality and a beautiful gift, you're getting it at the perfect price. So you know when you walk in, you're not getting taken advantage of. You don't have to worry about haggling. You don't have to worry about negotiating. You just sit down and relax. Oh, this is beautiful. That's what I want. And you know you're getting the perfect price every single time. So check out I Hate Steven Singer at IHateStevenSinger.com. The other corner of 8th and Walnut. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. One place, one price, the perfect price every single day. IHateStevenSinger.com and Steven Singer Jewelers at the other corner of 8th and Walnut. Without further ado, probably the last time we'll ever talk to Ben Verlander because I can't get his damn name right because I'm an idiot. I had a lot of fun. It's always great talking to this guy. He is a lot of fun. If you guys don't listen to his podcast, it's a great podcast, Flippin' Bats. He's got a new one dropping tomorrow, I believe. So make sure you listen for all the great details right there. All right, Mally, I'll give you a shout out right now. Steven Singer even hates Steven Singer even hates the number 9 hitter in that lineup, Marc. And that was Odubel Herrera. Oh, for the people, I'm sorry. You know what? For the people on the podcast, that reminds me, Mally. I'll just rattle it off for you right now. Leading off at second base, Gene Segura, followed by Kyle Schwarber, followed by Nick Castellanos, followed by Bryce Harper. Then JT Realmuto batting 5th, Rhys Hoskins batting 6th, D.D. Gregorius batting 7th, Alec Boehm hitting 8th, and Odubel Herrera batting 9th. That's what I got for you. So as if I'm Scott Fransky, Segura, Schwarber, Castellanos, Harper, Realmuto, Hoskins, Gregorius, Boehm, Herrera. And, can we make this the year that everyone says JT Realmuto's name right? It's Real Muto. I thought it was Real Muto. I asked JT about it himself. And 2 things I found out. One, he's Sicilian, which I did not know that. It's just a good Sicilian name. But he said it with like an Oklahoma accent. And I'm like, I've never heard a good Sicilian name in an Oklahoma accent. But it's Sicilian. And he goes, yeah, people put too much stank on that. It's just Real Muto. That's it. So there you go. Anyway, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what that is. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to... I'll get to the comments later. Without further ado, Ben Verlander joins us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. Joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line from the Flippin' Bats podcast. Folks, if you don't listen, this is the second time this man's been on with us here. Ben Verlander joins us right now. Check out his podcast, Flippin' Bats with Ben Verlander. And also make sure you guys are following him on all social media platforms, including Twitter. Ben, how you been, man?
I'm doing great, man. A lot better than I was like a week and a half ago when baseball wasn't back. But I'm pumped now, and thank you so much for having me on again.
Absolutely. Now, you have a brand new episode of Flippin' Bats coming out. It's a great podcast. You do a phenomenal job with it. It really is. It's just a lot of fun to hear people talk about baseball with passion, which you, of course, do. And you have a pretty interesting guest coming up for your next episode.
Yeah, actually, about to record it tomorrow, and it comes out Wednesday with Mike Soroka, pitcher for the Braves, obviously, who's a stud, and just been an unfortunate last year and a half for him with injuries and stuff, but really excited to do it and appreciate the kind words about the show, man. That's kind of the whole point of all this, is just talking highly about the game we all love and talking about it with passion. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I got to admit, and my audience knows this, I have been a baseball first guy my entire life. The most recent reminder of baseball being such a business has kind of spoiled things. And then the Phillies, it's almost like The Godfather, just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. By going signing everybody like a drunken sailor. It's just incredible what the Phillies have been doing. I'm going to go through the whole thing. But overall, Ben Verlander, let me ask you this question. How excited should I be about the Philadelphia Phillies upcoming season?
Look, I think excited. I think they've added some great pieces. I think if I don't know what the current situation is right now with Zach Wheeler, but I mean, obviously a stud last year. I'm hopeful he's okay and going to be great again this year. We know Aaron Nola can be good, and if we can get a little bit better a year, I like the rotation. The bullpen's obviously been a little question mark for a little while now, but what they did offensively is incredible. I'm really excited I think they're just going to be a fun team. Like, I feel like what we saw last year with the Blue Jays, where they were just an exciting team to watch, and like no matter who you were rooting for, you just like to watch the Blue Jays. I feel like that's going to be the Phillies this year. I feel like they're going to be a lot of fun to watch in a really good division. A lot of good games are going to be taking place, and they're going to absolutely rake. And Schwarber and Castellanos are just great personalities. I'm pumped up to watch them, and I think they're going to be really good.
All right, so here's what we're waiting for in Philadelphia. It's been a decade since we've watched playoff baseball in Philly. Playoff seeding has obviously been expanded, all that stuff. So can we watch a playoff team this year with the proverbial, we got to stay healthy, all that stuff out of the way, the obligatory, got to stay healthy. Do you think this team in the very early goings, way too early predictions, this roster can make the playoffs?
Way too early prediction. I'm going to say yes. I think what we saw from last year from Bryce Harper, I think that's him. I don't think that was like an outlier of a year to this point. I think he got comfortable in Philly, and I think he has another MVP caliber year. The guys surrounding him, I think Dave Dombrowski is a GM that wants to win at all costs, and I'm excited to watch them. I'm going to say way too early prediction. Like you said, injuries aside and everything, I'm going to say that they do get in.
By the time we're done editing this interview, it'll be Ben Verlander guarantees Phillies make the playoffs. All right, so there's been some turmoil here, inner turmoil about the lineup. First, I was like, Schwarber needs the lead off, and I'm like, no, let's back that off a minute. Let's go with Segura to balance out the lefty-righty situation. Here's what I got. Please grade my homework, Ben Verlander. What do you think of this lineup when it comes to the Phillies and what they can offer the fans this season? Gene Segura leading off here, followed by Schwarber. The only thing that kind of bothers me is that I got our homegrown
out of me. One, this is a really good lineup.
Okay, good. All right.
Two of which would be I love Rhys Hoskins batting six. And that says nothing about him as a player, except for the fact it talks about how good this lineup is. Rhys Hoskins is an absolute stud. And to have a guy like that in the six hole, I think is awesome and going to be really good for that lineup. I look at, that lineup kind of, and I don't want to compare the two, but I remember the Astros lineup last year when they had like Carlos Correa and Yuli Gurriel, who won the batting title, batting 6 and 7. It's like, it's just depth, which is incredible to have. This lineup screams depth. And 3 would be, if Kyle Schwarber doesn't get off to the year hitting hot, you got to put him in the leadoff spot. Because when he was there last year, he was the hottest hitter on the face of the earth. So I agree. I like this right here. But something happened to him in that leadoff spot. So if anything starts off weird, just put him there and he'll be fine.
We'll be looking for that. Anything to jump out weird with Schwarber, we'll definitely look at that. When you mentioned the personalities of Schwarber, you mentioned the personalities of a guy like Nick Castellanos. When it comes to these two guys and how they have hit at Citizens Bank Park, granted, though, a lot of limited situations, Schwarber obviously playing for the Nationals for a little bit there, has a little bit more experience. How much does a hitter look forward to that ballpark that he's absolutely smashed in?
Very much so. And I can tell you personally how much it means to Nick Castellanos. I had him on my podcast a few months ago towards the end of the season last year when he was still with the Reds. And we talked about that move away from Comerica Park when he was with the Tigers and then to Wrigley and then to Cincinnati. And he talked about how important playing at a hitter-friendly ballpark is to him. And it's no secret, Detroit, that right center field where Nick hits the ball a lot. He has a lot of power to right center, and it's just huge out there in Detroit. And then he moved to a smaller ballpark, and he's like, it really makes a difference. So that's why early in the offseason, when baseball just finished up, I predicted Nick Castellanos to go to the Phillies. One of the reasons is I believe they're built and close to winning. And 2, it's clearly a hitter-friendly ballpark that he's also hit well in. So I think it was just the perfect storm. I think it's not going to take him long to get acclimated. I think Phillies fans are going to absolutely love this guy. I think he's kind of the epitome of a Philly athlete. You know, he plays with an attitude. He plays. He's passionate, and he absolutely rakes. I think that's a big part of it. And to see two guys that love hitter-friendly parks, but that also hit well there, it could be dangerous for those guys this year in that park. I'm excited to watch them.
Some friends of mine own a Greek restaurant that I go to frequently, and they were excited to see Castellanos sign. And I'm like, I made the same mistake. I'm pretty sure he's more of a Hispanic heritage.
Yes, you're right. When I was getting ready to bring him on, when I was bringing him on the show, I went back and forth, and everybody goes back and forth. I mean, I was in the organization when he was there as well, and it's like he also went back and forth on Nick and Nicholas, by the way, for a long time.
Really? I didn't know that.
There was one game. It was during spring training, and we had finished up on the backfields. And I went, and I believe my brother was throwing that day, so I went and sat in the stands, and I was right next to his mom, who literally had like hundreds of flyers that said his name is Nicholas, not Nick. Like, proceed accordingly. And then he went by that all year, and then the next year is back to Nick. I'm like, I don't know what to call this guy anymore.
That's hilarious. Well, I can already tell that his mom is going to be boatloads of fun. Like, you know, like other than sitting next to her, like I just get the feeling she's going to be like that of like an Ann Iverson. She's going to be like one of those types of parents that we're just really going to enjoy in Philadelphia.
The whole family is great. She's great as well.
Beautiful. They'll fit in nicely with our fan base. So let me ask you about the arms. You mentioned Aaron Nola. You mentioned obviously Zach Wheeler. We'll see what we get from him. But they made a couple of bullpen acquisitions as well. Talking about Yaris Familia as well as Brad Hand, and then Knebel on the back end of that bullpen, who Joe Girardi has already said is going to be a closer for this team. What do you make of the acquisitions to this point when it comes to improving that bullpen?
A couple of them, I like them. It's just like, to me, it adds to the like question mark of consistency with the bullpen, like
taking flyers on veteran arms, basically. Right?
Which seems to be a theme with the team, and you know. I look at Familia, who clearly has incredible stuff, but it's like, are you going to be able to put him in at the end of the game and like count on him to not put guys on base and to get outs? And the answer could be yes. It's just, to me, another question mark there. But then I look at a Knebel who ended up, starting a bunch for the Dodgers in the playoffs and when they were doing the opener. And I think that speaks volumes to what Dave Roberts thought of him. How good he is, how good he can be. I got drafted. We were in the same draft class, and I played with him at a few levels. And he's a great guy. He's built to close. He's going to throw strikes. I'm really excited about him in the back end. Some of the other pieces I'm excited about stuff-wise. But it makes a difference when you can bring those guys in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. You need a closer. You need a closer in that 9th inning spot that you can rely on. It makes a difference when you can bring in those guys like Familia in the 7th and 8th and see where they're at stuff-wise. But once you get to the 9th inning, it's a whole different ball game. So I like Knebel being there, and it's just I like taking flyers on other guys, and we'll see how it pays off. They certainly have the stuff to be very successful.
Gotcha. When it comes to the stuff that they've done for younger guys, like Bryson Stott is a young up-and-coming guy, prospect for the Phillies that is going to be battling Didi Gregorius at the shortstop position in spring training, and that's already underway. How much has the new CBA and some of the things they've worked out after the lockout, how much will that benefit younger players?
I think a lot. I think as we continue, the new CBA that was just signed will be really good for younger players and really good for the game of baseball, in my opinion. I think there's still some things that are going to be tweaked as we go throughout the years, but we've set the framework for how to treat younger players and how to not manipulate their service time. I definitely think there's still some stuff that needs to be worked on there that can help it even more, but we're on the right track. And I think that's going to help a guy like him. And I think the most famous case of all of this is what happened with Chris Bryant and the Cubs years ago. They literally wouldn't even bring him up until a certain point because of the service time manipulation. And I'm hopeful with these younger guys now, we see them starting the year earlier, especially a guy like Stott, who's expected to be a stud. And I think it's going to be really good. You're not hesitant to bring him up at the beginning of the year, because if he finishes, top 2 and rookie of the year, or a top in all these categories, you're rewarded for it. And I think that that's definitely going to help these younger guys. And I'm excited to see, once we get into it, these younger players that I think have a really good chance to succeed at this level, like him, like Stott, like Julio Rodriguez out in Seattle. I think we're going to be able, as a fan, to see them earlier in the season and to see them help the team compete. I think it's great all around.
All right, now, one of the concerns people have for this Phillies lineup, you mentioned the name Chris Bryant. At the beginning of free agency and all that, I was like, get Chris Bryant. Solves bat order, can rake as well, but it can also obviously field and play different positions. Would you rather go Chris Bryant, or would you rather Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber? If you could have both or one, I'm assuming you'd go for both.
So the question is Chris Bryant or both of the other guys?
Yes, exactly.
I'm going to take Castellanos and Schwarber.
That's what I thought you'd say. Okay.
All day, every day.
How concerned should we be in Philadelphia when it comes to this team playing defense?
It's funny. I was just watching the spring training game, and they made like 2 errors, and I'm like, oh God.
Yeah.
I mean,
that Munoz guy, I don't think he's getting a lot of time during the season, just for the record. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, but Segura made one as well as I was watching. But those two guys, it's gonna play a factor. It's gonna be an issue, but I mean, it's more fun to watch a team that rakes, and it's going to result in more victories.
Okay.
So I would say the defense is an issue, but I think the offense is more than capable of making up for that issue.
All right. Coach Long has come in here to be the Phillies batting coach, and a lot of people have talked about how he's got a history with Bryce Harper. He's got a history with the Washington Nationals and all that. One of the things that I'm looking forward to is how he can maybe rebuild a guy like Alec Boehm. How does a hitting coach, of all the ones you've experienced throughout your pro career, how does a hitting coach try to, change the mindset or approach of a batter? How can they help you?
Yeah, I can't speak enough to how important it is. I played 5 years professionally and had the same hitting coach for three of those. And I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus here, but it really became an issue for me. In 2 of my 4 full seasons, I made an all-star team at the break. And then in the second half, I really struggled and didn't have a hitting coach that I could turn to, which really became an issue for me. And then I got to the point where I did have a hitting coach that actually cared and was really good. And it makes all the difference in the world. It's just a guy just being there for you that can help you say, hey, this is what you were doing when you were successful. Get back to doing this. And, the best hitters in the world, I remember when I was younger talking to Miguel Cabrera and when I first got into the organization, and he was saying all the time, I just need somebody there that's outside of my brain that's able to say, hey, get back to this. And I think Kevin Long is one of the most well-respected hitting coaches in all of the business. I'm really excited to see what this team is able to do under him, because I really feel like that's an underrated part of a team, is having a guy like that, because I can't speak highly enough about having a hitting coach that you spend every single waking second with at a stadium with, that is good at what he does. And Kevin Long is great at it. And I'm really excited to watch this team take off with him, because it is really important.
Fantastic. And, just for the record, just real quick, can I just get a letter grade from you? Just because I like to pat myself on the back occasionally. And I think the letter grade will be better than actual letter grades I got in actual letter school. So what do you think of this lineup? If you have to grade me letter-wise, what are you giving me, Ben Verlander?
What am I giving you? I'm going to give you, this lineup, I'm going to give it an A-.
Oh, okay. I'm happy. You said A. That's all I care about. I don't care about the minus. I don't care.
Explain.
Okay, go ahead.
It has more. It has more. If Alec Boehm can be the stud that I believe he can be, this lineup has the potential to get up to an A. So I'm going to give your grade a 93 with a 96 potential. You can get extra credit.
Oh, potential was my middle name in school, and I never reached it. And I never reached
was my middle name in my playing career as well. I never reached it either. So,
Ben, would you indulge me with a little quick game here, a Fast Five? I got 5 questions for you. We asked them. It's a new guys. Great. All right, let me just bring in my band. We got a new band. The budget has just increased since the last time you were on. So here you go. Ladies and gentlemen, Fast Five with Ben Verlander. Here we go. All right, first question. Best job before this job, and you cannot include playing professional baseball. So no podcast, no Fox Sports, no baseball. Best job before baseball. What was it?
That was my only job before the Fox Sports job.
You were never a busboy or anything like that?
Well, okay, so I worked for like an in-between year at an events company in Virginia, and we ran like all the major sporting and entertainment events in the state. So I'll say that.
Oh, okay, that's pretty cool, gang. All right, go-to fast food place.
Go-to fast food, Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A is just solid. People just love that Polynesian sauce. All right, first date deal breaker. I know you're in a serious relationship. When you're dating days, what's a first date deal breaker?
First date deal breaker. Good question. I'm gonna say, just like no personality, just like very monotone, no personality.
Gotcha. I'm just attractive. Just take me out places, right?
Right.
We've been there, bro. Let me tell you. Oh my goodness. Favorite city to travel to?
Favorite city to travel to? I'm gonna say Denver. I love going to Denver, and I like going to Austin. Can I get that's multiple answers?
No, that's fine. Austin's awesome.
Okay.
I love Austin.
Fun fact: I also really like Philly, and I'm not just saying that. I go there a bunch. And I'm friends with John Middleton, the younger John Middleton.
Oh, okay, yeah.
All right. I go there a bunch. I love it.
Awesome. All right, just feel free to extend an invite. I got 2 young kids now. We just had our second about 2 months ago, so I'm looking to get out of the house, but no pressure. Okay, that was begging. I'm sorry. Okay.
No,
all right. Here's my favorite question of these 5. In traffic, what makes Ben Verlander use his horn? In traffic, what makes you beep your horn?
2 answers. One, I get really I feel like my personality is great, but when it comes to traffic, I get really frustrated and like really mad when people cut me off, or if they don't wave, like if I let them in. Like you got to be polite on the road, which is an issue. I realize people aren't. And the other one would be I put on concerts in traffic with myself only, and when it's like a good beat or something drops, I hit the horn. And like it's part of the beat drop.
You beep your horn to the beat of the music?
Yes. Yes. Not when anybody's around. It's like when I'm on the wide open road.
Right. No one's around. You're coming back from a road.
From country back roads in Virginia. Like I could beat my horn all I wanted when the beat dropped. It was great.
Yeah, I just love to see you do it between Philly Airport and like Northeast Philly on I-95.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna fly. Ben Verlander, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not doing it already, I mean, come on, just improve your life a little, ladies and gentlemen, by checking out Ben Verlander on Twitter, as well as checking out his amazing podcast. It does a great job with Flippin' Bats podcast. Really appreciate you coming on, Ben, and hopefully, this postseason guarantee that you had for everyone.
Oh, God. Great.
No, but in all seriousness, thank you very much for coming on. Great catching up with you. Check out Ben when it comes to everything with Flippin' Bats podcast, as well as all social media with Ben Verlander, obviously on Twitter. Ben, great catching up with you, and thanks for joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics Test Live.
Hey, thanks. Speaking of guarantees, I did guarantee that Dave Dombrowski was going to do a couple things on social media during the lockout, and I nailed both of them. Philly people were saying your legacy is on the line, and I came through twice.
Look at you. You're a hero to the people.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me. It's always fun.
Absolutely. Ben Verlander joining us. I think we're at a point now where we're having too much fun. Like it was an unhealthy amount of fun we were just having with Ben Verlander. And yes, Al Jaskell, I definitely almost said Ben Revere the last time I said Ben Verlander. And here I am watching the interview. And I'm like, I know I must have slipped up. Like yesterday, Ben Revere did not even mention that, didn't even enter my brain. And for some reason, probably because I've been thinking about Odubel Herrera, and when I think about baseball IQ, I think of the 2 lowest players I've ever seen. And one is Odubel Herrera, the other is Ben Revere, which is probably why his name is on my mind. But after speaking with Ben Verlander, I'm like, I know I probably just slipped and called him Ben Revere once. I know I probably did. And I almost did at the end, but I didn't. You know why? Because every once in a while I'll do an impression of a professional. Just every once in a while. And ladies, oh my goodness, I set a thirst trap for y'all. And I got just to make this announcement. Clay Harper, Bachelorette contestant Clay Harper, former Eagles tight end, former Jaguars tight end, Chicago native Clay Harper, Missouri standout Clay Harper will be joining us tomorrow to talk about what's been going on with the Eagles in the offseason. Also about Doug Peterson taking over his former team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we'll talk to Clay Harper about that. And let me tell you this, handsome guy. I could say he's handsome. I don't care. But a handsome fella. So, ladies, this week's for you. And I do really appreciate all the Tom Moore references in the chat. You guys are absolutely off the hook when it comes to just you guys are wilding. You guys are wilding. That's all I'll say. You guys are wilding. Hey, you know what else is wilding? Rothman Orthopedics. If you go out and you wild too much, Rothman's got your back. You know what? Rothman Orthopedics, no lie, guys. They helped me out with my shoulder, so I was just having that shoulder issue. Diagnosed it, said it was a pinched nerve. They gave me some exercises to do. I feel so much better. I in all honesty, and if it acts up, exercises again, good to go. And actually, the exercises I do involve what looks like a medieval torture device, but it helps, and I feel fantastic. Full range of motion. Full range of motion. My shoulder, my neck feel fantastic. Call Rothman Orthopedics. Visit Rothman Orthopedics if you need them, because when you need an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need someone who makes a ravioli and stuffs it with orthopedic know-how. And that's what Rothman does. Or Rothman ravioli. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopedics physician. They don't actually make ravioli. But you know what? They do have what you need when it comes to orthopedic issues, because they not only specialize in orthopedic issues, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them in one of their 30-plus locations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, including 4 orthopedic-only urgent cares. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. How about the people of WinView? WinView, ladies and gentlemen, is what you need. It's a social gaming app. It's not a sports book. It's not daily fantasy. It's a social gaming app where you can challenge other fans, your friends and family members, to make predictions on the games that you love so much. So download the WinView app to your phone right now and have yourself a good time. WinView is the only game where fans can take on other fans and end the debate once and for all. Who is the biggest sports fan? If you have those friends and family members who think they know everything about sports, play them in a WinView contest. See if they can walk the walk as well as they talk the talk. You want to break up the monotony of family dinners and get-togethers? WinView. Download the WinView app to your phone right now and have yourself a good time. How about the great people? The PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. Check out PHLSportsStation.com. I'm almost afraid to jump back into the chat check as I was perusing all what y'all were saying throughout the Ben Verlander interview. But here I go. Let's jump on into the chat check today. Mally, what's going on? Kevin, what's going on? John, what's going on? Dan Schwartz, what's popping? Oh, John. Just like they said in the Outsiders last night, why does Duck Rivers give the bench minutes when they can't rely on Embiid and Harden, but says, well, Harden is there, he can go back in? Fine point. We need this bench to show up. And I got more confidence in the bench being consistent than I do Tobias Harris. Let's put it that way. Let's go Phillies, baby. Damn right there, Jack Ewing. What's going on, Jack? Paul, what's going on? Good morning. Charlie, good morning. Brian. Mally, better not have a Herrera in that lineup. Miss Guzzi. Shiloh, what's up? Shiloh says, let's rake. You're damn right. Good morning, Mullet. Nice to have you. If Odubel's in the lineup, this will quickly turn to Farsyisms and mild inconveniences for Farzy. You know what's a mild inconvenience? For anyone who doesn't have kids, all right? If you want to have kids in life, let me tell you something right now that's a mild inconvenience, but it grows tremendously into how inconvenient this is. Nobody tells you this. Your kids, when they're old enough to play with toys, all right? So my daughter's 2.5. Leo's 2 months. So no one tells you that when they're old enough to play with toys, they booby trap your house, basically. They just everywhere. There's something that you weren't expecting that you step on, and no, she's not old enough to play with Legos yet, so I have yet to know that pain. But they just booby trap the house. And it's like the weirdest thing. Like all of a sudden, there's something that you were looking for that you haven't found in years. And then all of a sudden it's in the middle of the road and you step on it and you almost die. Like that's the mild inconvenience, I guess, is the booby-trapped house that no one tells you about when your kids are old enough to just let things roll around the house. Just going to change Leo yesterday, and it was like a scene from Goonies where you had to walk from one area to the other. It was like a scene from Home Alone. I was waiting for a paint can to just come down and smack me in the face. So that's the mild inconvenience. So bring it on, whatever you have there, John. Henry, what's going on? Are Eagles now a Super Bowl favorite after signing Pascal? In case you didn't see that, they signed a wide receiver. Apparently Nick Sirianni's favorite human in the world when he was with the Colts. So, yeah, welcome, Pascal. Shiloh, what's popping? Henry, what's popping? John, why is there no trust and no production with the bench during normal games? That's a great point, John. I don't know. Charlie loves Mullet's name on this. It is pretty damn good. Mally said Brady heard that the Eagles were getting Pascal and said, I'm coming out of retirement. Wouldn't put it past him. Mullet, there's a simple explanation. It was the power of the apple on TikTok. Okay, good. I didn't leave that apple in the studio. That'd be no bueno. Jack Ewing, TikTok Farzy. TikTok now has about 1,009 followers, folks. So I believe we've hit stardom. I believe we've made it. Mullet, yes. Hello, Kevin. Maxey's comments after the game about him telling Shake to stay aggressive and take his shots shows he's maturing so fast and absorbing all the wisdom Harden has already gave him. Star in the making. Kevin, it's possible. Harden has given him a lot of confidence, I think. Jim Grassmeter. I hope I nailed it. I think I did. You hit me up on Twitter yesterday. I appreciate that. I always want to know if I'm not saying a name right. Paul, what's going on? Jim, good morning. John, on a serious note, the Eagles are no longer number one. The Falcons just spent $40 million to get rid of the guy that was playing there, Matt Ryan. Yeah, so now the Eagles, I think it was a $34 million was the largest cap hit in the history, like dead cap hit in the history of like ever in the world for the NFL. And then the Falcons were like, all right, we see your 34 million. We'll go 40 for Matt Ryan. You fools. No one's happier about that than Howie Roseman. But you know what's funny? I thought about this yesterday, too, when I saw that thing with Matt Ryan. Howie Roseman has to almost wear that like a badge of honor. Like Howie Roseman took that cap hit and still made the playoffs. Made the playoffs with a first-year starting quarterback, right? Made the playoffs with that roster. And now this year has wiped his hands of it. It's pretty incredible. And in return, gets a first-round pick as well. That's a brag for Howie. Thinking about firing me? I got a first-round pick. Anyway. I actually like Howie personally. I've talked to the man a number of times, and I've enjoyed him. But I just can't help it. That's the voice in my head when I think of Howie Roseman. Paul, Andrew Luck, Tony Brissett, Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. Yeah, it's a doozy out there in Indy. Kevin, I bet Harden was texting Joe. That's probably right. That makes a hell of a lot more sense. Harden texting Joel Embiid. Shiloh, when the Colts defense thought they were set for years with Andrew Luck. Oh, I'm sorry. The Colts definitely, that's what the DEF stands for. And the Colts definitely thought they were set for Andrew Luck for years. Hey, man, you never know what can happen in sports. Charlie, Baker Mayfield to the Eagles. I don't think so. Where does Baker go now? In all honesty, probably somewhere to maybe compete for a starting role. And I don't think that's Philadelphia. And also, I don't think people are clamoring for Baker Mayfield. And I like Baker Mayfield more than the next guy. I don't think he's a guy that's like, oh, we got to get Baker Mayfield. I think he's going to be competing for a backup spot somewhere. Titans for backup, maybe. Charlie, Mally, Saints or Panthers, maybe. Saints are done with Jameis Winston. I think they finalized a 2-year deal. Heard Seattle was out on Baker. Lots going on there. Good morning. Oh, Alyssa, what's going on? I love being a Sixers fan. Tyrese Maxey is the man, says Dante. April says good morning. John, hello again. Shame on Clutch for trying to loop in Tyrese into Ben's drama. You know, that's a great point. And how about this? Ben Simmons probably not playing this year. And did I see it right? Was he wearing a shirt? Was he wearing a hat last night for the Nets while he was sitting on the bench? Crooklyn? Was he wearing a Crooklyn hat? And I'm like, that's about right. He's stealing money. Sam Darnold may not be that guy. Wow, we're bouncing around here. Jan, hello again. Mullet, Sean, good morning. Why doesn't anyone want Baker? I don't know. Maybe because his insurance commercials have taken precedent. I don't know. That is an interesting story, Dante, about Deshaun Watson. So apparently Deshaun Watson, one of the reasons he shut out the Eagles was because of his loyalty and his friendship with Jalen Hurts. I don't think so. I think that's a nice story, but it's one of those things. It's the Anchorman gif. It's the I don't believe you. Because A, he got huge money in Cleveland. And B, I just don't think he wants to go. I just don't think he wants to come to Philadelphia. And if he had 4 teams, like it wasn't like he had a wide net cast. You know what I'm saying? It was similar to the Drew situation. It was a very short list. Philly could have been on that list, but he didn't. I just don't think he wanted to come here. Period. What's up, Darian? Hello again, Jack. Oh, Jack saying, does this mean we see Farzy fly fishing again? Dude, I don't put it past me, man. I'm going up to the Finger Lakes in September for a long weekend. I'm still doing the show. Don't worry. I don't want to alarm you guys in September for something. But I don't know if it'll be fly fishing. I'll probably be back in the Yak. Doing a little fishing from the kayak. So you guys can all have your fun there. Spoiler, Farzy had Schwarber as a leadoff spot. John, I did. Alyssa, only missed the playoffs once, and you come to Philly. So let's hear. So there's a turnaround this year. Let's hope so. Wow, John, Ricky Waters is still overshadowed by For Who For What. I'll never forget watching that game, man. I'll never forget watching that game, and Ricky Waters short-armed it. And I remember being about 10 years old, 9 or 10 years old, and we just moved back to the area from Baltimore, where my mom's family's from. And I was watching that game, and I remember Sports Talk Radio. I remember looking in the newspaper, and I remember, wow, Philly don't play games with guys that don't go all out. That was my experience to like the Philadelphia mindset. That was my first exposure to the Philadelphia mindset. Like I said, I was 9 or 10. We moved away from Ambler when I was like 4, bounced around a bunch, lived in Baltimore for like a year, and then came back to this area. And it was like first being old enough to like read the paper, the sports page, being interested in it, watching sports, listening to sports, and then hearing people just destroy Ricky Waters. I was like, all right, Philly really needs the hard worker. Everything else is secondary. Jim says he likes the order, but he wants to flip Segura and Schwarber. You could, but then you're susceptible, obviously, to the righty-lefties later in the game. So that's something that actually with the DH now, righty-lefties, you have no idea when that's going to come in. It's long games. It's going to be long games in the National League. Number 9 hitter is so disappointed. Sorry, Mally. Fuji, what's going on? Yes, Gene Segura has been a good leadoff hitter overall. 298 leadoff hitter, as a matter of fact, in his career, Gene Segura, which is why I actually went with him in the leadoff spot. Mullet, good morning again. Darian. Not a good Dan Baker impression. I wasn't doing a Dan Baker impression. I was doing a Fransky impression. Not even a Fransky impression. I even said, like Fransky does when he says the lineup. That's kind of that kind of beat. Ooh, okay. Mally didn't like my lineup so much that he says he hopes the next ravioli I make fall apart when I try to eat them. How dare you, sir? Talk about my mom. You talk about relatives. Talking about my kids. Don't you dare talk about my ravioli. I made some more of that roasted garlic ravioli for some friends that came over to meet my son. It was on point. It was on point. Got to roast that garlic, mix it in with a nice ricotta, nice Parmesan Reggiano. Boom. Fantastic. John, Farzy, you brought this upon yourself. April, the speed in that lineup reminds me of Pat Burrell. Ugh. Yeah, it is going to be a slow lineup. Verlander loves freaking baseball. Dude was losing it on Twitter during the lockout. Yes, he was. And when he referenced that Dave Dombrowski works in silence, he goes, Schwarber, and he said definitely Nick Castellanos going to Philadelphia. And he was right. Thibault, Real Muto, two names that can't go back on. Castellanos can still be saved. Very true. Melissa, you guys are wild. John, Farzy, I hope your next big bag of chips is 83% bag, 70% chips. John, come on. Alyssa, this is one of my favorite comments you've ever had. It's simply, Ben Verlander, eh? And then the looking emoji, like, hey, what's up? You're welcome. Yes, Alyssa and April have some eye candy today. First off, ladies, I don't unbutton the second button for nothing. All right? You're welcome. And I don't shave this head and make it glisten in the lights for nothing either. Anyway, Phillies aren't a playoff team yet. With all the moves supposed to move on. If the Phillies aren't a playoff team yet, Dan Schwartz says, with all the moves, a supposed move on the way, and 14 freaking team playoff expansions, we're hopeless. Dan, that's an excellent point. Mally, Farzy, I hope your next joint got a tear in it. My next joint will be my first one, my friend. Apparently, according to you guys, I use an apple. Shots fired by Farzy at Farzy by the ladies. Hey, man, you know what? I'm resilient. I like how later in the chat, April's like, he's got a wife and kids. We're trying to be respectful. Alyssa and April, let me ask you fine ladies, this question. My wife will say to me, like, for instance, when I would organize the wingettes for Wing Bowl, or if I'm out doing a Farzy in the field and I mention something funny that a lady said or something like that, my wife usually will say, and I told you my wife's a clinger. She'll usually say, "Oh, do you think she likes you? Do you think she has a crush on something to that effect?" Every once in a while, she'll roll that question out there. And tell me if I handle this right, ladies. My wife says, "Hey, do you think she likes you?" And I'll go, "Probably." My wife doesn't like that. I'm a Scorpio, and I'm very protective. That's my dead on impression of my wife. It's exactly what she sounds like. I'm a Scorpio. I own ownership. We have a great relationship. There it is, April, family man. Yeah. Yeah, Alyssa, I'm sorry. Serious relationship. Miss Scoozy. Ooh, Alyssa, Clay Harper doesn't do a lot for you. Yeah, sorry. Cecil, this is from the top rope. You guys get Tom Moore. Is that not enough for you? That's such a great comment, Cecil. Andrew's like, comment of the year. Darian, Tom Moore, laugh my ass off. Tom's man. Pete, leave Tom Moore out of Oh, my goodness gracious. You guys are fantastic. You guys are great. Farzy being punished, not getting an A+ because of Bohm's lack of development. James, that's the story, man. Marc Potential Farzy. That's my name in high school, man. I wasn't good at the paying attention. School wasn't really my thing. When I was at the school the other day and some of the kids followed me here, they subscribed to the YouTube page. When I was talking to the kids, I said, this was not my environment to thrive in. Sitting still and paying attention to a person that just wasn't that dynamic. Like, not for nothing, I love the vast majority of my teachers, but some of them just couldn't command an audience, especially a guy that's like, what? Squirrel. Family Guy brain. Rick says Ben's our hero. I almost said Ben Revere. You got me. Evan, good morning. Falconator. You talking about food is the most Italian thing I've heard all week. I'm making more ravioli for my. So I told you guys last week my cousin Doug was coming into town. I'm an idiot. It's this Friday. It wasn't last Friday. I texted him that I was saving him a spot in the city, and he goes, thanks there, smart guy. I'm here next week. And I go, or I'm coming next week. I go, I'm an idiot. Thanks, buddy. Stirring the pot. I see Farzy crazy good at ravioli. I can see Farzy making crazy good ravioli, to be honest. Kevin, of course I'm making crazy good ravioli. Sean, oh my God, you better destroy this Farzy episode. Your wife is eventually going to see this one. Probably. We did. Oh my goodness gracious, you guys are awesome. Mally, I'm a Scorpio. Still waiting on you to freeze some and send them. April, I can't freeze a ravioli. Like, I can't. If I freeze it, I feel like anything that gets frozen at any point, you taste the freezer. Like, the minute you defrost that and make it, I feel like you can taste that it's been frozen. The thing, like, I have stopped buying, since I made that pasta board, I've stopped buying pasta. I just buy flour now. 00 flour, 00 flour. And, eggs and, a little water, and you just make pasta. It's not that hard. It's pretty easy. And if I can do it and I was a D- student, then I think you guys will be fine. But there's just such a difference, man, between that fresh stuff and what you buy in the store. And, oh, my God, it's fantastic. But, April, I will try. Maybe I'll just make it and just drive it down. No. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are awesome, as per usual. Much appreciated. Thanks, everybody in the chat. Let's move on to our morning rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Here's what we got. Sixers off until tomorrow night. They're traveling to Los Angeles, take on the Lakers. LeBron James is absolutely going crazy right now. If you haven't seen his dunk on Kevin Love last night in Cleveland, oh, my God. LeBron James dunked it. Several people are dead. That's all I can tell you. It was insane. The Nets did win last night. Sixers 2.5 games out of first place behind the Heat. There's like a 4-way tie for first place in the Eastern Conference. So hopefully the Sixers will separate themselves just a wee bit. Jay McManus is asking, hey, Mark, why was James Harden not on the sideline like Embiid, I guess, supporting the Sixers? I don't think he wants to come back next year, or am I reading too much into it? I honestly don't think that you're reading too much into it. I just think that that's James Harden. I don't know why he wasn't on there to answer that question. I talked about it earlier. I looked for it. I searched for it. I texted a friend of mine that covers the team. He didn't know either. So I don't know. But I know when he's there, he's a model teammate. I think he does want to be back. I do buy into the stories that he wants to come back and that Tobias Harris will not be back. So we'll see how that plays out. So there you go. So, all right. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you guys. Fantastic as per usual. That morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. From the Steven Singer studio, I'm Marc Farzetta for the Farzy Show, presented by DestinationRetirement.com. Jim Hyden produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. You guys were off the charts today in the chat. Make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube and also follow us on all our social media platforms, including TikTok, where the kids just love us. Tomorrow, Clay Harper joins the show for ladies only and for football fans. So there you go. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. See ya.